Hi again, Panther fans, and welcome to the Panther Insider Podcast, driven by Ford. Great to have you back this week. This is Dave Cohen, the radio voice of the Panthers, from our studios at Center Park Credit Union Stadium in Atlanta. On this latest podcast, we're talking Georgia State football with running back Jordan Ford and outside linebacker Kevin Swint. Now, 3 games into the regular season, the Panthers are 2-1, coming off back-to-back wins over Chattanooga, 24-21, and more recently, that stunning victory over the Vanderbilt Commodores here at the stadium, 36-32. Following an off week on the schedule, and you know there's never really an off week, Georgia State will host Georgia Southern in the next game, Saturday afternoon, September the 28th. Kickoff scheduled for 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on national television. 3 o'clock airtime on the radio network, including 50,000-watt, 88.5 FM WRAS in Atlanta. And if you're planning on coming to the stadium, and we hope you are, tickets available online or by calling the Athletics ticket office at 404-413-4161. Again, online at georgiastatesports.com. Also, before we talk to Jordan and Kevin, just a reminder, if you've missed any of our previous Panther Insider podcasts, they're all available online on our Apple Archives page. You can access that at georgiastatesports.com. Right now, we welcome to the Georgia State radio microphones one of the newcomers, and there's a lot of them on this football team, and that is running back Jordan Ford, who transferred from Tulsa. Jordan, great to have you with us on the podcast. I would say welcome to Georgia State, but you've been here now for a little while, and I guess I'll lead this interview off by saying congrats on a fantastic win this past Saturday over the Vanderbilt Commodores. Panthers now 2-1.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me. Thank y'all.
Well, tell me about your experience at Georgia State so far. Again, in this new world of college athletics that we live in, again, a lot of new faces, a lot of players transitioning from one program to the next. How's it been since you've gotten to Georgia State? You're an Atlanta native, and we'll talk about your time in high school at Marietta High School, but just talk a little bit about the transition to Georgia State and getting acclimated and getting settled in.
The acclimation it's been great coming in with these new coaches, offense and defense, man. It's been great. It's been a new life around Atlanta, a new life around Georgia State, and I just think this is going to keep building so we can keep going to the top.
All right, so let's quickly recap. It was a tough loss at Georgia Tech in the opener, and unfortunately, you guys can scrimmage till the cows come home, and it helps, but there's nothing like real game action. So you go into that Georgia Tech game in week 1, and as I said to Coach McGee and a few of the other players, you reach a point where you're tired of the summer workouts, you're tired of the fall practice and the workouts, you're ready to play that first game.
Right, yeah, that first game, we just learning how to play with each other, you know what I'm saying? So that first game came at us. We fought hard. I'm proud of a team win, lose or draw, and be proud of them. And we just needed to learn how to play with each other, and that's what we keep building and keep going to do now.
Again, as you talk about getting acclimated with so many new faces, from a player's standpoint, does it take a little bit of extra time to build what we'll call that football chemistry with whichever 11 are on the field at a time?
Absolutely. Even the one that's not on the field, it takes everybody with scout team and just being with each other on and off the field. It's going to create that chemistry so we can be together on the field. So that it makes it great for us to just stay together, you know. So yes, the chemistry is gonna keep building as this bye week. We're gonna keep building as this bye week. It's not really a bye week, but we're gonna keep building as a team and keep getting closer.
Yeah, and you've got a deep room when it comes to running backs. And, of course, you guys are working, obviously, in tangent with who's ever at quarterback. It's been Christian Veer for the most part. Talk a little bit about the running back room, helping with getting everybody acclimated, because Freddie Brock is the only guy that's back. Right. It's a lot of new faces in that running room, and you're all participating.
Freddie is a great leader. He opened us with open arms when we first came in, us 3 backs that we came in, and it's been a grind. Like we all love each other, all love seeing each other win. So that's a big part of our room. We all want to see each other win. So when your number called, we just make sure we're ready. We get each other ready every day in practice, and we just keep going.
Talk a little bit about the running backs and what each individual brings a little bit different than the rest. What does Freddie do that maybe Jordan Ford doesn't do, and what does Jordan Ford do that maybe Savion Wilkerson doesn't do, so on and so forth. down the line? I know you got five solid guys, and I know CJ hasn't played yet, but I heard he was nursing an injury. But you got 5 solid guys in there that can carry the ball.
Absolutely, and we all. I'm not gonna take anything from anybody, and I just feel like we all got that little piece of the game that we can learn from each other, and we all can do the same thing. But it's gonna be some things that some other backs do better at. You know what I'm saying? So I just think we all just learn from each other. You know what I'm saying? Take little things from each other and just get better at that. Like I said, I'm not going to take anything from anybody else because I feel like all our backs can do whatever. You know what I'm saying? So we just help each other and just day by day just get better.
And some of that consistency and that familiarity in working with a new quarterback.
Right. Oh, the new quarterback, he came in with open arms too. Big leader. He does what he has to do to get us going on the field, or whether it's a running game or the throwing game. We just keep moving, keep pushing.
I've interviewed a lot of running backs in my time at Georgia State, and not one during the course of the interview has never given props to that O-line.
Man, the O-line, they going to push. Man Ray pushes them to the max, man. That O-line going to push every time. 1s, 2s, and 3s. Those guys push. They work hard every game, day in, day out. They do extra stuff in the meeting rooms. When I see them here late, they do their thing. So props to them. I'm sure the other running backs think about them all the time. We always talk to each other. We keep one accord with each other. So that O-line, man, that's a big part of our team, man, and I appreciate them for just doing what they have to do. We got 5 backs, so it's a different type of feel when another back in the game, and they do a great job adjusting, doing what they have to do, because I might hit the hole faster than somebody else hit the hole. You know what I'm saying? So those guys got a lot on their plate, and they most definitely eat it.
Yeah, and that's what I mean about each running back, bringing, in some instances, just something a little different than the next guy. As you mentioned, hitting the hole, maybe faster than the next guy. And we'll get into your background and how you wound up at Georgia State, but just recapping. So coming out of Georgia Tech, and, all summer there had been so much talk about Georgia State, Georgia Tech, Georgia State, Georgia Tech. And finally, we played the game, 35-12, the final. You guys come back to Georgia State after the game, and now the focus is on UT Chattanooga. And you guys have had 2, we'll call them fantastic, back-to-back weeks. What was it like coming off of Tech and not having to hear about that game anymore and turning and focusing on the first home game, Chattanooga?
The biggest thing is we just take everything one game at a time. You know what I'm saying? Coach always preaches once we done with one game, we erase it and go to the next one. So we don't really think about what happened in the past. We just keep going, just focus on the future. So we did Chattanooga, we flushed it, then we go into Vanderbilt. Now we beat Vanderbilt, we flush it, now we on a new week. Right now we on the bye week, worrying about getting our fundamentals back, and we're going to worry about Georgia Southern when that week presents itself.
All right, so just to quickly recap the win over Vanderbilt. And you ended up with 2 receptions. You had a touchdown pass of 19 yards in the Chattanooga game. So you personally were taking some momentum into the Vanderbilt game. Talk about that, because there was a lot of, we'll call, hype on that game as well from the outside. And I'm talking outside the program because it was the first SEC team to ever come into the stadium and all that. Talk about what the prep was like, and then you finally hit the field against those guys.
The prep is the same. You know what I'm saying? We don't take any other team lightly or more than the next team. We practice like Georgia State Panthers practice. So we just gonna keep doing that, whether it's a SEC team, ACC, Pac-12, anything like that. We just gonna keep pushing and practicing the way we practice, because we know how good we can be and we know how better we can get. So we take it from there and just keep going day by day with it.
Led Vanderbilt for most of the game, and then they make a little run there, and they score those back-to-back touchdowns. And then late in the game, in and around 2 minutes left, they take the lead. And then we end up, now we can look at it in hindsight, that's one of the greatest finishes in the now 15-year history of Georgia State football. On the field, or whether you were standing on the sideline, what's going through your mind as what transpired ended up transpiring?
What went down, we kind of let off the gas a little bit, but Coach always preaches next moment. So we just taking moment by moment, and if something bad happened, flush it, next moment. The game doesn't end till the fourth quarter hits double zeros. So when it doesn't hit 0-0, we just keep playing, 0-0, 0-0. We came out of halftime, coach said 0-0 right now. Let's keep going. Everything, next moment. So we got to keep pushing. Bad moments, good moments, we got to keep going until that clock hits 0-0.
In hindsight, that's a signature win, though, for a program that's – and I know you came from Tulsa. They've been playing football a little bit longer than Georgia State. This was really, you can count on one hand the signature wins that this program has. The exhilaration when the clock is showing zeros and you guys are all down in the field and you've just beaten Vanderbilt in the stadium and it's lit blue. And tell me about what that feeling was like on the field, not just for you but for everybody, and what it was like in the locker room.
Man, it was great because we prepared for it. Like I said, we prepared for every team like the same. But for them to come from the SEC and come to our house, and Coach always say we don't let nobody come to our house and beat us. So that's what we took pride in. So we took it to play by play, quarter by quarter, and we just did that. And the way it felt at the end of it, knowing we put all in it, even coming when we was winning and we was down, we still kept fighting. And Ted made a great catch, and Christian made a great throw, and the line held up the whole time. I think Duke was in at the time, made the great block, or I think it was Freddie, one of them, made a great block, and we all just 11 on 11 did our job, and we came out with the W, and that's what we got to do. And it made us feel great that we did that. And when the clock hit 0-0 and we saw we was up, it felt great. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we got to keep doing every single game.
As you look back at your career just to this point, whether it was in high school at Marietta or up in Chattanooga, whether it was at Garden City, at JUCO, whether it was Tulsa, have you been a part of a game that you will remember really for the rest of your life?
Honestly, truly, that was the first game I had ever felt like happy, like that we most definitely worked for it and we deserved that win. So that this win right here was most definitely one I'm gonna put, on my bookshelf. That's definitely one of the biggest wins of my life. Absolutely.
All right, we're talking to Georgia State running back Jordan Ford here in the opening segment of our Panther Insider podcast, driven by Ford. One thing I like to do is introduce Panthers to the listening audience, the Panther Nation, and let them get a little bit more insight on Jordan Ford, not just the guy number 9 carrying the football or returning kicks, but a little bit about Jordan Ford. So you're an Atlanta guy, and you played high school the first 3 years in Marietta. How did that transpire?
Me and my brother, actually I have an older brother, 16 months older than me. He plays receiver, and we actually started at Roswell High School first, then we went to Marietta, and played with a lot of good guys there. They all play Division I football still, and just playing for my city, man. I love playing for the city of Atlanta. Coming back from Tulsa, transferring here, the city welcomed me back with open arms. Coach McGee welcomed me back with open arms, as well as the defense and offensive coaches. And then I have my dad on the staff too, so that makes it even better. I can play in front of him. And my parents didn't really get to come to a lot of games when I played in Tulsa, so being back home right now is, man, I love having the city on my back, having the city just come out and see us play.
From Marietta, you go to Notre Dame High School in Chattanooga. What figured into that decision? How does one go from Marietta to Chattanooga?
My grandfather had passed away at the time, and I couldn't get to school at Marietta. So basically they told me I couldn't play in Georgia for a year. So I had to go to Chattanooga, and my running back coach at Marietta, he wanted me in some good hands, so he played running back in the University of Tennessee, and the running back coach at Notre Dame played at the University of Tennessee too, and they sent me up there. Had a great time in Chattanooga. That's why that game against Chattanooga, that big win, that was a lot to me because Chattanooga is like my second home. So that was a big win for me too.
All right, so coming out of high school, you end up 2 seasons at Garden City Community College. I know a little bit about it from watching Last Chance U. Now, they were not on Last Chance U, but they played the team that I saw on Last Chance U. For all I know, I may have seen you on that show. The decision to go JUCO comes about because?
I was a late bloomer with the grades. I wasn't really, I want to say a school guy, but I wasn't focused enough on school. So JUCO route was the best route for me. So I went JUCO first year, wasn't really getting a lot of playing time, but I got in third and fourth quarter. Second year was one of the biggest years I had in football. I actually won the rushing title for the NJCAA, which was a big accomplishment for myself. And we only lost one game in JUCO, so that was a great experience for me. Definitely a grind though, was something I didn't want to stay at, so I had to grind to get out, but I had to grind to do what I had to do in JUCO so I can get out. So it was a great experience for me. Met a lot of guys in JUCO. Actually, we're going to play some in the next few weeks, and it should be a great experience.
Yeah, no question about it. In 2020, you were a JUCO, a junior college All-American selection. You rushed for 1,039 yards, scored 12 touchdowns. And then you move on to Tulsa, right. Lovely Tulsa, Oklahoma. Been there once or twice with basketball over the years. 4 games in 2021, 8 games, 2 starts in 2022, 12 games in 2023. How did you enjoy living and going to school and being a part of the Golden Hurricane program?
It was some ups and downs. You know what I'm saying? Had some coaching changes and stuff like that. But mostly it was up. Just trying to navigate myself through the NCAA football, man. It was hard at first, but coming from JUCO, it was hard. But once I got into it, I made some plays. I had to do what I had to do. Started some games. Had some great backs there that helped me out through the whole situation. And coming to Georgia State, bro, I can honestly say I felt like college at Tulsa was kind of shortening me, but Georgia State has most definitely brightened my ways of football, or brightened my ways just walking around facilities and stuff like that, because like I said, when I came here, they welcomed me with open arms. So it's great to be here. I wish I would have came here first, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, it's just college at the end of the day. Just trying to navigate myself through it, but I'm happy I'm being where my feet at right now, which is Georgia State.
Well, let me ask you a couple of easy questions before we wrap it up. So you're at Georgia State. You've been at Tulsa. From a student athlete perspective, what are you studying at Georgia State? And no matter how far and wide your football career takes you, at some point you won't be able to carry the rock. Right. What do you want to do in the future?
What I want to do, I love making people laugh. So I've been dipping into acting classes and comedic classes and stuff like that. So that's something I've been wanting to do since I was a little kid. Been seeing Disney Channel and wanting to be on Disney Channel. So right now I'm studying acting right now for at Georgia State, and it's going great right now. I got a monologue to do. I'm kind of nervous, but it's my first one. But so I'm just gonna do it. Just like I go out and practice football, I gotta do this one.
And lastly, what do you do when you get away from football? You don't have to worry about looking at a playbook or worried about practice or coming down to the strength and conditioning center. And what do you like to do outside of football?
I've been around football my whole life. So outside of football, I try to not to be a player, but I absolutely be a coach for the youth. When I was in Tulsa, I had a 7-on-7 team. We actually won a championship the 2 days before I came to Georgia State. So I just want to keep that going, but not to just do it in Tulsa, just to do it for my city too. So later on, I hope to have a 7-on-7 team or a football team that I can just teach the ways that I was taught. So just keep pushing in Georgia State. Just keep pushing.
Or I may turn on Netflix one night and going to say, I know that guy right there. I talked to him on the podcast.
Absolutely, absolutely. I hope that's something too. Netflix, Tubi, YouTube, anything like that, man. I'm hoping I could be on the screen, not just running the football, but making people laugh.
All right, Jordan, I appreciate it. Great getting to talk to you. Best of luck. I know it's not an off week, and we're down here at Center Park Stadium, but have a good week of practice, and we'll see you here for the Georgia Southern game, and let's leave the stadium with a W. But great getting to talk to you, and I appreciate you coming on the podcast with us this week.
Thank you for having me, and to the fans, man, keep coming out, keep supporting us. We're going to give y'all something to watch. We working hard. Thanks to Coach McGee, thanks to Coach Chaney and all the defensive staff and our players. We want y'all to come out and just watch us play.
All right, that's running back Jordan Ford, one of the new guys on this football team. There's a lot of them, but fun guy to talk to. And so we started out on the offensive side this week on the Panther Insider Podcast, and coming up after this break, we'll talk to outside linebacker Kevin Swint, and we'll talk to Kevin following these words from Ford and Center Park Credit Union.
Wherever you go this fall, greatness starts in a Ford SUV. That's because Ford Escape, Explorer, and the spirited Bronco Sport SUVs have the power, cargo space, and smart tech you need for tailgating on game day, camping under the stars, fall festivals, romantic dinner dates, concerts, antiquing, pumpkin picking, weekend getaways, school plays. For great offers on these versatile SUVs, see your local Ford dealer today. Greatness starts here.
Center Park Credit Union, the official financial sponsor of GSU football, is proud to be a part of the Georgia State community and the Panther Athletics program. Center Park provides members convenient financial services. In addition to online banking, mobile banking, and 7 Metro Atlanta branches, Center Park members have access to 5,000 co-op shared branches and 75,000 surcharge-free ATMs nationwide. To find a location near you, visit online at centerpark.org/contact, and that's park with a C. Not a member? Join today at centerpark.org. At Center Park, we help our members flourish. We're back now on the Panther Insider Podcast, driven by Ford. Want to thank Jordan Ford, the running back, for joining us in the opening segment. And now we switch and we talk to our buddy Kevin Swint from the defensive side of the football. Kevin, of course, had a great game against the Vanderbilt Commodores. 8 tackles, 2 for loss, 2 sacks, 2 pass breakups, 1 forced fumble on that big hit on the quarterback, Diego Pavia. And right now we welcome Kevin Swint to the Panther radio microphones on the Panther Insider Podcast. Did you do enough in the win in the Vanderbilt game? I just read all those stats. You sure that was enough?
Yeah, it was a pretty nice performance. I got to just thank God first for allowing me to have the opportunity and to showcase my abilities, and also thank my teammates for being in the right position so I can be in the right position to make those plays as well.
Congratulations, Sun Belt Conference Defensive Player of the Week honors. And, of course, it's a no-brainer when you look at those stats. Your hit on Pavia that caused the fumble, when you look back at that game, was really the first sign that something was going on at the stadium last Saturday night.
Yeah, it was a great chance to, start off with a spark, especially getting a defensive turnover on the first drive. I feel like that brought a lot of energy to the team, and so we took it and just ran with it and made it a snowball effect.
It's one of those things, though, that it does set the tone. All of a sudden, you don't know what to expect. They're coming in 2-0, a big win over Alcorn State after beating Virginia Tech, and you transferred to Georgia State from Clemson, and you're a big dude, that they're going to come in with SEC size and skill and all that kind of stuff. And Georgia State, I don't even know that it really made an effect. I mean, Georgia State came right out and went toe-to-toe from the opening kickoff.
Yeah, I think it started with a mindset. Like I said earlier after the game, it really wasn't solely about the opponent. It was more solely about us and playing to our standard, not towards the opponent's standard or the opponent's caliber. So we just played with the right mindset and the right identity, and we took care of business the right way.
Kind of leads me into my next question. You're in your second year at Georgia State again after transferring from Clemson. So you were here last year under the previous coaching staff. What has been different, and most people look at football and they're looking at X's and O's and all that kind of stuff. What you were just mentioning was the mental part of it, the mental preparation part of it. How is it different prep-wise than maybe it was a year ago?
I would say it's this year has been a lot about details. Communication has been at an all-time high. I mean, I feel like if you turn on the Georgia State defensive tape, you can tell that everybody's on the same page, everybody's communicating well, and everybody knows everybody's responsibility. So I would say that's one of the vital things of preparation, and then just the mindset. Last year's team, and this year's team. So we're just trying to create our own identity and have our own path so we can leave our own legacy here.
We were talking to Jordan Ford in the previous segment, and I was asking him, and this is pretty obvious, that by the time fall practice comes to a close, you've about had enough of fall practice. I would assume you guys are ready to play. Let's look back real quick at the first 3 games. Tough loss at Georgia Tech, but it's the first game that a lot of you guys have played together. Again, you were here, but there's a lot of new faces on this team. And then you come out of that great week of practice, beat Chattanooga, which is a top 10 FCS program, and they gave us a little bit of a run for their money, but you guys responded. And then all the hype about bringing Vanderbilt in, and you guys kind of just fly underneath, didn't really look like you were too affected by all the hoopla around the game. You just came out and got to business. Just recap the first 3 games and how this team has really come together in a short amount of time.
Yeah, I think that I think that you make the biggest improvement in those first 3 games. The first game at Georgia Tech, like you said, it was a lot of new faces on the team, so the chemistry was kind of still, working the kinks out and stuff like that. And the UT Chat game, I feel like, it was a big game for us, even though, it wasn't as as good of a performance that you would think that a team would have, but I feel like we bonded together the right way, and and it showed that we were battle tested. So when it came to Vanderbilt, I feel like we were kind of familiar with our scheme as a team, and what our goals was as a team, and it's just taking it 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 rep at a time, and just taking care of the little things and blocking out the outside noise and really just worrying about us.
One thing, and this is to paraphrase, that Coach McGee has touched on, and I think he's been happy with and impressed with, is the way this team has responded when, let's say, Chattanooga scores and takes the lead. Georgia State came right back. In other words, Georgia State never seemed to get rattled, if that's the right term. And, Coach talks about each play or each scoring moment being moments, separating things into moments. And the Panthers responded in the back-and-forth game against Chattanooga. Every time they did something, Georgia State would come back and do something. And ultimately, in the Vanderbilt game, in what turned out to be, at that time, the biggest play of the game at the end, Veillere to Hurst, again, leading the whole game. They finally take the lead. Georgia State comes right back.
Yeah, like Coach McGee said, it's really about controlling your own moment. And every moment is different than every other moment. So just controlling those things and staying in the present, worrying about what you can control, and last play is over with and you have to be focused on the play that you're in right there, and I feel like we did that. You got to let things go and be composed. No matter what the circumstances are, we could be down 55-0 at halftime, but if we stay composed, I feel like we'll have a great chance to make that comeback and do the right things to put us in the best situation to come out with a victory.
Tell me about the training to be able to compartmentalize this play and this set of downs to the next set of downs. In other words, as he says, each one is a separate moment. Does that take some concentration to be able to compartmentalize each moment and, follow up success if there wasn't success the previous time?
Yeah, I feel like throughout the off-season training, it's just really about, finding that extra strain, finding that extra push. In every series is going to be different, of course, but as long as we can, compartmentalize the little things and keep our composure and focus on the end goal, I feel like we'll be fine, and I feel like if we keep doing those things, and everything else will take care of itself.
All right, so I asked Jordan, what was it like? I'm up in the radio booth. Harper's down on the sideline. I think he talked to you briefly. What's that like? You've just come back. The offense has come back and scored with 15 seconds. All your hard work looks like with 15, it's going to pay off, and you've beaten a Southeastern Conference team. They lit it blue on the field. What's going through Kevin's mind when – because, again, I think you kind of set the tone with that first hit, and ultimately the Panthers end up winning the game.
Man, it was a surreal moment. One of the happiest moments of my life, of my whole football career. Coming here to Georgia State, I told my family and I told my teammates, that we want to leave Georgia State, better than we found it, and I feel like that's stepping in the right direction. And having a big win for the program, it just kind of brought peace over my mind and heart. But at the same time, the job's not finished. That's an individual moment, and it's a small achievement to what we're trying to achieve this season, and that's to win the Sun Belt Championship. So, that moment was great, but we're still more to do.
Still more moments to compartmentalize. Quick word on the D-line. They did, I thought, a fantastic job. Even though you look at it, Georgia State gave up 32 points, but when it counted, the D-line, I thought, played pretty well.
Yeah, the D-line played magnificent. Everybody did their job. Everybody was physical, and that's what you want to see out of a defensive line. You want to see knockback. You want to see guys, tearing off blocks and creating negative plays for the offense. So our guys did a great job. Deuce Lewis, Henry Bryant, Ian Matthews, Anthony Bloom, all everybody, man. Everybody contributed in amazing ways. So it was a blessing and an honor to play with those guys as well.
Well, as I said at the beginning of this segment, you were feasting with your 8 tackles, 2 for loss. Tell me about the sacks.
Man, it was kind of got to a slow start early in the season, but I feel like I'm kind of getting in the groove now, getting a little comfortable in my game, and getting comfortable with the scheme as well, and understanding when certain pass rush moves are vital and when they should be used. So it was great to get those 2 sacks, but hopefully, or surely I can get more.
Well, that would be great. Especially against Georgia Southern in the next game. Tell me a little bit about another one of these newcomers, Xavier Robinson, who right now, as of this recording, is leading Georgia State in tackles.
Yeah, Xavier Robinson, a D2 guy, but that doesn't matter at all. He plays as he looks. A very strong guy. He can run sideline to sideline, very intelligent, a very physical run stopper, and he also can defend the pass. So. And he's a great leader as well, does all the right things, and I feel like everybody on the team can speak highly and say the same thing. So he's a great guy and a great player.
All right, so take Panther fans inside this complex, the locker room, the practice field, the strength and conditioning center on an off week, because as I was telling Jordan, it's an off week for me. It's not an off week for you guys.
Yeah, it's an off week, but at the same time, it's a week for us to get better, slow things down, get back to the fundamentals, and just work on us. As always, our main focus is us, but we can go back and fix the little small things, and and build on top of things, and hopefully keep building on top of the stuff that we're doing now.
All right, so after the quote unquote off week, conference play in the Sun Belt starts out with a bang. You got Georgia Southern coming in. You've been a part now of one Georgia State-Georgia Southern game a year ago, which was not a pleasant experience. And as a leader now in that locker room, well, one of them on the defensive side, you got to convey to a lot of these new guys what Georgia State, Georgia Southern means to Georgia State football.
It means a lot. It's going to be a very competitive game. A lot of respect to those guys down there in Statesboro. So it's going to be a very physical game, and I can't wait.
All right, as we wrap things up, as I was asking Jordan, and you've been on with us before, what are you studying at Georgia State? And when that day far off in the distance comes that you're not playing football anymore, because hopefully we'll be watching you on Sundays, what does Kevin Swint want to do with the rest of his career and his livelihood?
Yeah, so recently this spring I graduated with a speech communications degree with a minor in educational communications. And, what I really want to do, later in life, I want to be a public speaker, which I have been, developing my portfolio with that. But I also want to get into real estate, build affordable houses, and also, fix houses up to, make, environments look a little cleaner, a little better. And, and also get into the commercial business, build, Fortune 500 industry buildings, and all types of things. So, I have a very broad and a very open mind to the things that I want to do inside of the real estate world. And I just want to, be a helping hand to people. I just want to, help people in all the ways that I can, bless somebody, because, I've been blessed my whole life with, amazing people around me. So I would love to give the same opportunity back to the people that I, don't know a hand from. But, I just want to, be the best person that I can be for everybody and for my own family as well.
You're from Carrollton. You transferred from Clemson. You enjoy being a student athlete in the middle of downtown Atlanta here at Georgia State?
Yeah, it's amazing. You mix and mingle kind of the downtown and Georgia State. So, it's a great place to be. To all the students in the state of Georgia that have interest in have concerns about Georgia State, man, you should come out here and check it out. It's a wonderful place, a wonderful city to be in Atlanta. So it's a blessing to be here.
Kevin, I always appreciate it. One of my favorite interviews. And appreciate you joining me on the podcast, and let's get out of the stadium on the 28th with a W over Georgia Southern.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Go Panthers.
All right, I want to thank Kevin Swint joining me here in the second segment of the Panther Insider podcast driven by Ford. I want to thank Jordan Ford as well for joining us on the opening segment. Reminder, Georgia State football tickets are available for the Georgia State-Georgia Southern game coming up on the 28th of September. Visit online at georgiastatesports.com. You can also call the Athletics ticket office at 404-413-4161. As we say at the end of every podcast, we're back talking Georgia State athletics again on the next Panther Insider podcast driven by Ford. Dave Cohen saying thanks for listening. We'll see you at Center Park Stadium, the GSU Convocation Center, the ballpark at Panthersville. And as always, go Panthers!